Hi everyone, welcome to my new video. In this video we are going to learn how to use basic mathematical calculation in Microsoft Excel and how does Microsoft Excel calculates the number using different mathematical operators. Okay, so let's see in the example. So basically in the mathematical calculations we have various types of mathematical operators, like the first one is division, then multiplication, addition, subtraction, and this is the power. This caret sign is the power operators in Excel, and this is equal and this is percentage. Okay, so generally if you remember the mathematical orders of the different operators, we have division, multiplication, addition and subtractions, right? So in Excel, basically Excel calculates the numbers based on these orders. So it calculates first division, then second multiply, then add and subtract. And if we have any brackets or curly brackets or normal parentheses or the big brackets, this square brackets, this normally calculate the numbers between these small brackets first, then curly brackets, and finally the square bracket. So if you see here in the example, I have put this as a text formula. So if you see here, we have 50 divided by 5 multiplied by 2 and plus 3 minus 1, right? So let's see how it works inside the Excel. So I'm converting this text to the formula by deleting the first quotation marks here. So if you hit enter, we have 22 as a result of this equation. So if you want to audit this calculation in Excel, you can go to the formula menu. Then if you see here in the formula auditing section, we have evaluate formula. If you click here, you can see in which order the Excel is calculating the number. So if you see here, we have underline under the 50 divided by 5, it means the Excel is calculating the division first. So if you click on the evaluate, then it switched to the multiplication, right? So after division 50 divided by 5, the result was like the answer was 10, then it is multiplying by 2, right? So once the multiplication is done, it will be 20, right? So 20 plus 3 will be the next step. So if you click on the evaluate, we have 20 plus 3, and similarly 3 plus 20 is 23, and finally the Excel is calculating the negative sign here. So it's 23 minus 1. So if you see here, the final result is 22. Okay, so this is how it calculates. The beauty of Excel is like we can input the numbers in different cells and calculate the value using the cell reference. So if you see here, I can just use the same formula here, but I can use the different reference in formula, I mean different reference in Excel. So I can say like equal to, just click on this cell and divide by G22, this cell reference, then multiplied by this reference plus this reference and minus this reference. The result should be the same as 22 because all the numbers are same as the example before, right? So if you hit enter, we have 22. So what it's doing is like it is just referring to the value of each cells. So we can use the cell reference instead of entering every number as hard coded. So if you see again in the evaluate formula, click here. So see this is bringing the actual value from this cell first. So that is why the underline is under the F22. If you click here, the 50 is there. Then it is also bringing the number from this cell. So it is 5, right? So now it calculates the division here. So similarly, all the numbers are coming from the cells and it is calculating the numbers based on the order of these mathematical operator signs. Okay, so this is how it works. So the next one is like this caret sign. So if we need to calculate the power of any numbers by the power to some numbers, then we can use this caret sign. So if you see here, if I edit this one and delete this quotation marks, this will be 4, right? So 2 to the power 2 is 4. If I change the power to 3, then it should be 8. So if you see, this one is 8. Again, you can use like 2 different cells value and calculate the power in another cells. This is the beauty of Excel. Next formula, I've added the bracket inside this. So in this case, the Excel calculation between brackets first, then add these numbers and multiply these numbers. So if you see here, just delete the quotation marks and see the audit tool here. So First of all, because this division is independent from this one, so whether this calculates first or this, the answer should be same. That is why Excel is calculating this first. So evaluate first, then if you see here, now it is calculating the numbers between these brackets, right. So 30 minus 20, I mean in this case, in normal scenario this multiplication would be the second step, but in this case we have brackets, that's why this calculation is being done before multiplication. So after evaluation you will see that the multiplication will be done before the plus, right. So evaluate, and 30 is the final answer. Okay. So this is how it works using the brackets also. So now we have the example of this profit and loss for the small company. So in this case we have total revenue of 100,000 and the cost of goods sold is 65,000. Now we need to calculate the gross profit, right. So gross profit is total sales revenue minus cost of goods sold. So how do we calculate this? So the Excel formula always starts with equal sign. So I am putting equal here, then click on this reference. Instead of entering 100,000 manually, just click on this cell, right. So that is linking the value from this cell and minus this cost of goods sold. It means it is subtracting 65,000 from 100,000. So our answer should be like 35,000, right. So if you hit enter, we have 35,000 gross profit. Now we have these expenses, admin expense and selling expense, right. So now we need to deduct these two numbers from this gross profit. So equal here and select the gross profit minus this amount minus this amount. If you hit enter, we have 10,000 loss, right. This is negative number. Instead of using this negative signs here, what we could also do is like equal to this, then negative. We could use the sum formula here, like SUM open bracket and select the both range here. What it is doing is like it is adding the both number inside this formula and deduct it from this amount, right. So the amount, the answer should be the same as $10,000, 10,000 rupees or dollar, right. So this is how we calculate the net profit from deducting these expenses from gross profit. Now I want to calculate the percentage of revenue for each of these lines. So in this case we are using the fixed or dynamic reference here. So if you see here, I want to divide each line items by the total sales amount, sales revenue, right. But in each sales the constant numbers of denominator will be $100,000, right. So that's why I'm using F4 function or dollar sign to make this reference absolute. So I'm hitting F4 here, so that every time we copy this formula down, the denominator will be same for each and every line. So if you hit enter, now we have 1. So to convert this number to percentage, we go to the home menu, and if you see in the number section, we have percentage sign here. So if you click here, we have 100%. That means total sales revenue is the 100% of the total sales revenue. That makes sense, right. So if you click here and just copy the formula and paste this to the COGS, if you see here, we have 65%. Why? Because the numerator value is changed from this cell to this cell, because we didn't fix this as a reference using dollar sign. That's why it's changing every time we copy the formula down, right. But the denominator is fixed because we are using the dollar sign. So now again copy this formula to GP, we should have 35% of gross profit, and we can copy and paste the formula to all cells down below. So if you see here, we have 20% of general and admin expense and selling and distribution of 25%, and the net profit percentage negative 10%. Okay, so this is how we use the Excel arithmetical formula and percentage and different operators. I hope this short video helped you to understand how Excel works for the arithmetical calculation. Thank you so much for watching. Please consider subscribing to my channel. Bye.